APA format, what you need to know. A tutorial prepared for Florida Technical College students. APA stands for American Psychological Association. This entity developed a standard way to present research background, methods, and conclusions. It is mostly used in the behavioral sciences such as psychology, but other disciplines have started using this publication format to ensure transparency and understanding of content. We will be using the latest edition of the publication manual, which is the 6th edition, as a guideline to present our assigned papers in our courses. This presentation will cover the general aspects of the format. Therefore, if you need additional information on the specifics, it is highly suggested to read the manual and or access the website since it presents more updated information. There are different types of articles that can be found using APA format. These are empirical studies, literature reviews, theoretical articles, methodological articles, case studies, and other. At FTC, the types of essays most students will be developing fall under the categories of literature reviews and theoretical articles. The first one is done when we present a critical evaluation of material that has already been published. So, literature reviews basically do the following. They define and clarify a problem. They summarize previous investigations to inform the reader of the state of research. They identify relations, contradictions, gaps, and inconsistencies in the literature, which is the body of written knowledge. And they suggest the next steps or steps in solving the problem. The other type of article that we will be writing will be theoretical articles, and these present empirical information, that is research, only when it advances a theoretical issue by tracing the development of theory to expand and refine theoretical constructs to present a new theory or to analyze a theory. There are two types of plagiarism that the APA manual covers. The first one is plagiarism, which is claiming others' works or ideas as if these were our own. In most of your classes, you will be asked to conduct research on a specific topic or on a topic of your choosing. Chances are you will develop the main idea of the paper while conducting your research, or you already have the idea, that is your thesis statement, and you need evidence to support your argument. Therefore, the need of looking for references. Giving credit to writers and authors strengthen your paper and your argument. You are showing other people are agreeing with you. To avoid plagiarism, make sure to give credit when using others' ideas or published work. When using exact wording, use quotation marks. And when paraphrasing or summarizing, acknowledge the source. There is also something called self-plagiarism, which is when we submit previous work as new. And to avoid this, we need to make reference of previous work. This may happen when we submit some work for two different courses. The manuscript elements that we have is the running head, and it's going to be different on the first page. As we see here, we have the example. It has the phrase running head with the shortened version of the topic, and then it has the page number. Then we have the title. In the title, we need to summarize the main idea of the essay. We need to spell all words and avoid any abbreviation, and it should not exceed 12 words. Notice that the information presented on the example is not really in the middle of the paper. Rather, it is on the upper half area. This is called the focal point. So to simulate this content, make sure to count 5 enters double-spaced. Then we have the author's name and institutional affiliation. As guidelines, we need to include our full name, first name, initial, last name, or surnames, Use the same form throughout your career, that is, if you're submitting and publishing articles. Avoid including titles and degrees. And lastly, the affiliation demonstrates where you completed your research. As a nota bene, if working in groups, then the names should be listed in the order of contribution. So if you were the one who contributed the most, then your name should go first. Then we have the abstract, and this is one of the most important aspects of the paper. It is the impression that the reader will have of your work. It needs to present the main idea of the article. It needs to be brief, and it usually has a word limit. If your instructor requests an abstract, make sure you follow his or her instructions as to how many words it needs to carry. Abstracts are mostly requested by journals that publish our investigative work. As a rule of thumb, for our classes, if the paper has less than 10 pages, then no abstract is required unless otherwise specified by your instructor. As another nota bene, it should be done after you have completed the article because it's presenting the summary of it. This is a visual example of how an abstract looks like. Keep in mind that it goes on the second page, that the page has the running head and pagination number, and as title it reads abstract. Also keep in mind that the paragraph is not indented and is left justified. Here we have no indentation and everything is left justified. This is the only instance in which the paragraph does not reflect an indentation. Additionally, notice the running head. It no longer carries the running head phrase. It just has the complete title or the shortened title of your paper. After the abstract, we have our manuscript. This is where the presentation of the topic, its discussion, and concluding remarks will take place. Technically, because there is a chance of your papers not being over 10 pages long, there is not really a need to separate sections. This does not mean you may not do so. You can if you want to, but please keep in mind that the introduction is never labeled as such. Here we are looking at a screenshot of the first page of our actual paper. Notice how we don't label introduction, but rather we have the full title of our paper. Each paragraph is indented and it follows a line of thought. The last portion of your paper, at least for the purposes of this tutorial, should be your references page. Notice how it is titled References and how each source is being presented in alphabetical order. Also, notice that when an entry takes more than one line, the second line is indented. This is to show when the bibliographical information ends and another one begins. So far, we have learned a little bit about background information on APA style and why we use it. We also went over the types of articles there are and which ones we will be more likely drafting in our classes at FTC. We also learned the distinction between plagiarism and self-plagiarism. We went over the manuscript elements and saw an example of an APA paper. Next, we will be learning how to properly cite our sources in APA style.